G'day all, Ben here from East West. This is going to be a little bit of an announcement. This will be, I'm just going to put the cannabis analysis on hiatus. Sadly, I'm not really getting a lot of traction with these videos. So, I'm not really reaching a lot of people with my ideas, and I do this for free. This takes up time, and I'm not going to waste time doing analysis for nobody. So I won't drop it all together. But sadly, the numbers just haven't come through. So I obviously don't have the magic formula, or there's just not enough interest for the cannabis sector in terms of how I look at it. So I might just pare this back to maybe a monthly look. If you have enjoyed what I've done so far, then hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment. Like I said, I won't drop it all together, but I'm not going to spend too much time on a week-to-week basis. So with that being said, let's jump in and for the last time for the moment, have our look at cannabis for the week. So just kicking off here with MSOS, just on the weekly, you can see we've just had a doji candle, a little bit of an indecisive doji candle here. But I've got some hopes that might have just heralded the bottom of this little downswing that we've been in. But just staying out of here on the weekly, this level down here at $7.30, what's the low of that pivot? $7.30, that remains our crucial area, and we still remain above that. So look, we're still in the uptrend, everything still looks good here, but let's just jump on into the daily. So we can see here that we still remain a little bit weak through here, and we've just gone a little bit further than I would have liked to have seen. So we're just looking at retracements, we've just sort of gone through that 61.8. So it's not a massive deal. It's just you prefer to see that hold, and it did try to hold there for a while. Okay, we did. Pardon me, I've drawn that incorrectly. We did come in here and we did hold this area and try to push, but we since failed. So that's a little bit disappointing. But look, I think that the trend still remains intact. You can still see that. It's just that looks like we're going to come down here and really test this. We just don't want to take this out. Okay, that's the area we were looking at before. If we take this out, then all of a sudden we've got a failing trend. We're going to get outside this trend channel, and even though this was a higher high, there could be an argument to suggest that was a double top, and that's kind of run the market out of gas. Look, there's a couple of little things here, just in terms of the momentum shifts here, and just looking at the RSI, I'm down here on a 4-hour now. So one thing I'm just sort of kind of looking at is we're just getting a little bit of bullish divergence coming into the market. So it looks like we've made a fresh low here and even here as compared to these, but the market has just not had as much momentum to drive down to these areas. And even just having a quick peek at the volume down here, the volume it just tailed away here, didn't it, as we sort of came down and made these lows. So there wasn't a lot of buys in here, but there also wasn't a hell of a lot of selling. There was just a bit of dribbling. But the way the market's closed, mainly today, I would say that it's been a decent sort of day. Okay, so we've sort of pushed away here on good volume, and we've got this bullish divergence coming in. So I'm just kind of not without hope that might prove to be a bit of a pivot low there. Now the danger here it's like this has moved down. We had this, right? This was our first measured move. Okay, so I probably just need to precise that up. So we fell, we retraced, we came back down to the measured move. So we move on to the next one. So we'll take this pivot off this low, and we did the same thing again. But but we didn't actually hit the measured move low there. Okay, plus we've got this divergence coming in and a nice kind of strong day with volume just starting to tick up. So I remain a little bit wary, but there's a little bit of hope there that could have bottomed out. Even just looking at the structure of the swings, and we're down here on an hourly now, but this swing 30 bars 15.83% down, this swing only 19 bars 11.86%. Now the swings haven't printed yet. I think this will be another upswing and this will be another downswing, but the downswings are getting smaller, and here on the hourly we've got even stronger bullish divergence coming into the market. So that's why I'm kind of remain pretty hopeful that this can be a larger pivot low, and that the market can rally away from there. But just as a guideline, what I'll be looking at I just sort of be taking this as a rough sort of downtrend, and then obviously what I'd be hoping to see is a break of that, a retest from above, and if that could line up with that, and then we start propelling higher, then I think we can then. They're the sort of signs you want to see on the short term to be able to go back, okay, to the bigger picture and start to go, okay, well, what it looks like now has happened is that this swing down is done, and we can be hopeful that we're now going to embark on the next upswing. All right, so that's kind of where we sit. Even just the fact that when you just look at the RSI, it's like the cycle of selling is sort of looks like it's close to reaching its conclusion. So we could be now hopeful that we can start to creep back up and embark on the next upswing. Just looking at CURLF here, and this is holding pretty well, right? I mean, we've got a lot of tests down. I mean, there's kind of a feeling within sort of TA when you're looking at this sort of thing is that the more time the market taps these sort of zones without being able to move away from them, the more chance they are that they're going to break. But you can't worry about that till it actually happens. And what it just kind of looks like here is that we're just subsisting just here at the midpoint now. If we sort of come in here a bit closer, I guess the main problem I've got with looking at this one is just, and we're very, very short term here, is just, I mean, we had this spike, but you can just see that generally speaking, we're just getting some higher highs. So you could almost call it like a wedge action, I suppose. The fact that we're just, you could almost see, this is a breakout of the wedge, but this was a bit of a wick rejection, wasn't it? It didn't really go on with it. So I'd be a bit concerned that we're kind of crushing in here, and that even though that might be like a false breakout, and then we're going to go down like that. That would be the main concern. But we can't see too much here just in the here and now. I mean, all we've really got is a zone that has been holding. But slight word of warning, and just looking at this, I mean, as we've come up here, the first time let me start that again. As we've come up here, the first time we touched this, we ricocheted away strongly. The second time we came back, we ricocheted away very strongly. Third time is a good move. Next time, a little bit softer. This time, we would want to see this just creep more. Okay, what we don't want is to see that. It goes without saying, right? But the phenomena that we don't want to happen here is that the buyer's demand is satisfied, but the seller's supply is not. Okay, that would not be a good sign. So we don't want this to come down and then test this from above, because that would set up this. Okay, but not all's lost, because we could just look at this, right, and it could just be in a very broad trading range. Okay, it just means that we might be exhausting the top side of the bracket. And what we're actually going to do here, I mean, I know we've got this trend line coming here that we want to hold, but we might just move into an extended trading range like this and not go anywhere while we wait for some sort of news to come out about the actual sector itself. So we're holding here for now, but it's starting to look a little bit weak, like it's starting to struggle, and the trend might get threatened. So the trend that we've been in might just terminate. And if we just come back here to a weekly, this larger trend that we've just tried to start to establish might actually just wedge and just start to terminate like that. That might be what's going to happen moving forward. Remains to be seen, but we'll revisit that idea at a future date. So just moving over here to Green Thumb, and it's just kind of showing me the same sort of thing, right? And the problem we've got here, I think, it's the same phenomenon coming back the other way, is that, this upswing, we're on a daily here, this upswing was 36 trading days, it rallied 50%. Okay, the next upswing only went for 16 days and rose 42%, so we lost power through here. Now the downswing here went for 24 trading days and lost just under 24%. So this swing so far has not been as broad, but we have lost more price than we did on the previous. Okay, but we've only been going for 15 bars. So what we probably don't want to see is, if the market has not made a pivot low before this point, which would be the 9th of May, and in fact headed lower, then all of a sudden you've got a bigger and longer downtrend, especially if we take out this pivot, then things start to look a little bit not as good, right, guys? It just, look, I think it's still not a massive deal, because even though you don't want to lose this pivot, it just means that the short-term momentum of the market's probably been interrupted somewhat. So what I'd be thinking, if we started to lose this, I'd just go back to the start and go, okay, well, where is the big area? Okay, now we know that the 50% line's up there, so it is definitely an area we want to hold. But the market, it might just tick down a bit further. Okay, it can come down here. It's not an overriding disaster. I think it's in trouble if it starts getting outside of this retracement zone and outside this trend channel. Well, that goes without saying. That would be a pretty gigantic fall, because we've lost more than 60% of the market from the high. Okay, but look, in the same way that we watch, and we are just threatening this little trend, but I wouldn't have said that it's as important as the overall trend channel, because look, we could just bust it here. It doesn't have to be exact. It can be a little bit sloppy. It's not something to get too worried about, but even the same way as we look at the RSI, it's now travelled down its cycle, if you want to put it that way. I'm not going to go into the cycle analysis. It's a little bit too much work for the return I'm getting on this, but you can sort of view this as, look at it this way, right? Look at the peak here, and we ran down here, and that just corresponded with the cycle of the RSI running down. We got to this bottom, we ran all the way up to the top, that corresponded with the top, and now we've sort of done the same thing. When we peaked out here, the RSI has now reached its maximum downward velocity. That's all that means. It means momentum is at its maximum selling, which is obvious because, let me just turn the indicator off. When you just look at a standard sort of bar chart, you can see there's a lot more red candles coming down than red bars than green bars. There's more down days than up days, okay, and that's just the cycle of the selling, and that's why the RSI goes down, because there's more stronger down days than up days, and that's just basics. But while we haven't got divergence, like I said, this is kind of looking like it's starting to get towards the bottom, the end of the cycle, and that you could be reasonably hopeful that we're going to get some sort of bounce coming out of here in the not too distant future. Same sort of phenomenon when you're coming close here. I mean, we're getting, this is on a 4 hour, we're still getting a little bit of bullish divergence. I can see we've got an earnings report due here in the not too distant future, so we'll see how that goes. They didn't obviously like the last one, and the market came off, so that could be a problem coming forward, but we don't know until we actually get that. We won't know. Okay, but this down sort of trend remains, and of course, just looking at this, we just obviously need to get back up and beat this retracement zone to really solidify some sort of trend. That would be great. Something like that would be perfect. Or even if it doesn't even have to do that, it could do that. If it did that, then you'd be starting to apply Elliott, where you've got a wave up, a retracement, and then an extension. Then you'd start to think, okay, 1, 2, 3, can we get a 5-wave move going here? Something like that. But look, on the 4 hour, we've got some bullish divergence. As we come in here to the 1 hour, it's more stark. So there's reason to think that there's a good chance that this can bounce away next week, but we'll just have to wait and see, of course. So just quickly finishing off here with TRUL. This sort of idea of the Elliott structure remains in place, and we still, well, I don't know if that's going to be quite satisfy our needs, but I'd be just the way this is structured, I'm still looking for that 3-wave swing coming back down to possibly make the second wave, or the main retracement. Now, we talked about this previously, where we had the divergence between the peaks, but it's the same thing, right? The RSI is now starting to get down pretty low. So just when we look at this up a little bit closer, we had a couple of sort of measured out moves here. Like, we had this move down, and off this retracement we made a very precise 1-to-1. So if we just repeat the same thing, that's the high there, down to there, this retracement, we haven't quite got to that 1-to-1. So whether or not that means the market's just starting to run out of gas, we know we're starting to diverge. Like, this is on an hourly here, but this is quite strong divergence between this and this. So trying to dissect if this is one wave down, the next wave up, and this is the third wave down to make the whole cycle of the correction is yeah, I'm not massive on it. It's a little bit hard to read. You've got to wait till it's clear, and sadly it's not usually clear until it's in the rear vision mirror. But I think for me, just looking at this, this is probably the main move. We didn't get back to the 50%. I mean, you could sort of say, well, here's the first measured move. Drag it down to the next retracement. We got back here. We've hit the measured move target again. I mean, you would go with the trend, which is basically just telling you that, well, the next round of selling is going to be in here. But if we can break through there, then that looks good. Okay, that would suggest that maybe this move is going to terminate. So I would suggest that this pivot is going to move. So I would suggest that this is going to connect up as one pivot down to there, and that could just be our terminal point. Does that make wave 2, or do we get something more like we come up and then we come down a bit further to get our larger wave 2 retracement? That remains to be seen. That would be the question I'd be asking at this stage. But so far, I think it looks all right. It looks okay. It's definitely making a case that it can try to bottom out here. That is wrong because I accidentally moved that. But certainly as we approach into here, this looks promising. So, like I said, I'll have to update this at a later time. So, look, that's it. That's it for me. I'm definitely on hiatus now with cannabis. There's just not enough traction or action with it. So, all the best. Thank you very much for watching. If you have been watching what I've been putting out, don't forget hit like and subscribe, or let me know in the comments. I won't ditch it all together. I'll probably have a look a bit further down the track, but week to week, I haven't got enough time to put into this one. So thank you for your patronage. If you have been watching, all the best, and I'll see you a bit further on down the track. Bye for now.